The summer Owen was sent to his grandmother's. The old Stonehaven estate seemed to breathe a sigh of forgotten ages. Nestled deep within the gloomwood forest, its decaying grandeur was a testament to time's relentless march, and a stark contrast to the sterile quiet of his own home. Grandmother Alara, a woman of brittle bone and sharper words, met him with eyes the color of winter ice, her presence as cold and unwelcoming as the ancient stones of the house itself. "Mind yourself, Owen," she rasped, her voice like dry leaves skittering across pavement, "and stay out of the garden. It is not for playing." Her garden. It was the garden so much as a sprawling, verdant wilderness, an untamed maw of tangled vines and choked foliage that clawed at the manor's walls. Even from the safety of his window, Owen could feel its oppressive weight, a heavy silence broken only by the rustle of leaves that sounded less like wind and more like a knowing whisper. Yet, an undeniable pull drew him towards its forbidden embrace. At its heart, half swallowed by an eccondific ivy, stood a monolithic standing stone, dark and ancient, a sentinel over the riven green. Boredom, that insidious serpent, soon proved stronger than his grandmother's warnings. One sweltering afternoon, while Alara was lost in her perpetual, silent vigils within the manor, Owen slipped out. The air in the garden was thick, humid, carrying a cloying, earthy scent like damp soil and something else, something cloyingly sweet, almost sickly. The giant stone was colder than it should have been, a frigid sentinel amidst the oppressive warmth. Driven by an inexplicable urge, Owen began to clear the undergrowth around its base, twigs snapping, soil yielding with a wet sigh. Hours blurred into a trance of digging. He felt watched, not by his grandmother, but by the garden itself, its tendrils seeming to lean in, curious. Then, his face struck something hard and unyielding. It was a box, crafted from dark, lacquered wood, its surface scarred by time and moisture, bound with bands of tarnished brass. With trembling hands, he pried open the rusted latch. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, lay a pair of antique secateurs, their blades dark with rust, and a roll of brittle, yellowed parchment. The parchment unfurled with a crackle like dry bone. The script, though faded, was his grandfather Silas, a man Owen had only known through hushed, distant memories. "To my dear Lara, should the hunger ever awaken." The words twisted Owen's gut. "The pact is sealed, the earth drinks deep, my life blood, a conduit for the sleeping king. Let the verdant heart pulse, let it consume, but never ever disturb the roots. They cling to what was given, what was bold. My love, my essence, became its nourishment, its verdant bloom. Do not seek what lies beneath the stone, Alara. The garden demands its due. It has tasted life, and it will taste it again." Owen's breath hitched. The air around him grew impossibly cold, despite the heat of the day. The garden silence, once oppressive, now felt predatory. Shadows within the deep foliage seemed to coalesce, taking on vague, shifting forms at the periphery of his vision. The cloying sweetness in the air intensified, now undeniably the scent of decay mingling with unnatural, vibrant life. He clutched the parchment, the rusted secateurs feeling unnervingly heavy in his other hand, a sense of profound, ancient malice seeping into his very bones. "Owen." The voice, sharp as a thorn, cut through the oppressive stillness. Alara stood at the garden's edge, her gaunt frame silhouetted against the waning light. But something was different. Her eyes, normally dull, now gleamed with an unnerving, sickly green light, and her skin, usually pale, had a strange, almost luminescent sheen, as if a verdant vitality pulsed beneath it. She looked rejuvenated, but not in a human way. Her gaze, unnervingly fixated on the monolithic stone, was no longer merely stern, but possessive, hungry. She moved with an unnatural swiftness, her bare feet silent on the damp earth, drawn by an unseen force. As she approached the standing stone, the ground around it seemed to hum, a low, resonant thrum that vibrated through Owen's very bones. Roots previously still began to twitch and writhe like hungry serpents. Blair reached out, pressing her palm flat against the cold surface of the stone. An unholy green light pulsed from within its depths, mirroring the strange glow in her eyes. The transformation was a grotesque ballad of horror. Her skin cracked, flaking away like dry bark, revealing sinews that twisted and stretched into gnarled, root-like tendrils. Her fingers elongated, fusing into woody branches tipped with cruel, thorn-like nails. Her bones snapped and resh-shaped, her limbs thickening, her face contorting into an inhuman mask, her mouth a gaping maw from which the garden's ancient power seemed to pour. Vines erupted from the earth, wrapping around her, drawing her deeper, until she was no longer Elara, but a monstrous amalgamation of human and plant, a horrific, living dryad, her body a grotesque monument of verdant power. "Welcome, dear Owen," her voice echoed from the depths of the garden, a chorus of whispering leaves and groaning mud. The harvest awaits. The full, chilling truth slammed into Owen's mind. This wasn't merely a garden. It was a devourer, an ancient, insatiable entity. His grandfather Silas, his life poured into its soil. His grandmother Elara, her essence now fueling its monstrous bloom. And Owen, he was the next offering, the final, desperate bloom in a cycle of endless hunger. The very ground beneath him groaned. Roots, thick as pith and coils, burst from the soil, tendrils snaking towards him, grasping, pulling. He scrambled back, dropping the box, the shears, the parchment, a desperate, guttural scream tearing from his throat. But the garden was quicker. Its embrace was cold, unyielding. The tendrils wrapped around his ankles, then his wrists, pulling him down, inexorably, into the damp, hungry earth. The scent of sweet decay filled his nostrils as the soil closed over him, the roots wading through his clothes, against his skin, probing, seeking. He struggled, but the garden's grip was absolute, drawing him deeper, into the cold, pulsing darkness, his last conscious thought the overwhelming, alien hunger of the earth, pulling him into its endless, verdant embrace. He was no longer Owen, but merely another drop of nourishment for the sleeping king, another whisper lost in the rustling core of the damned.